Hi, my name's Rebecca. I'd like to share my story of what happened to me back in November of 2024. Basically, I almost died. I didn't know. I thought I was just tired or just, getting old. Ended up, thankfully, I did realize I needed to go to the ER and found out I actually was in what they call DKA. So I'd like to just share my story and hopefully the right person will see this, see the symptoms, and not go through what I went through because they'll hopefully go and get the help that they need a lot faster than I did. So, and I also on this channel would like to, I'll probably end up sharing things like how I do my garden, some little silly things my cat does, show you some things I've crocheted. I'm actually working on a blanket for my great nephew who's going to be graduating in May, so I got to hurry up and get that done. But there's just all sorts of things, but it's taken me longer to get the blanket done because I've also, in the process of all this healing from the DKA and the diabetes, I've got what they call OA, osteoarthritis. So that's slowed me down a little, but I'm determined it's not going to slow me down completely. But anyway, I just want to share my story again, just to hopefully help even one person to not go through what I went through. Get yourself to the doctor if you have any of, if you feel something's not right, it probably isn't. So I will share my story and share other things in the future and show, also I want to show you just things that I've found to help me to get better. And it's just an ongoing, it's an everyday process. As I share my experience, I need to make sure that everyone is aware that this is my experience. It's not medical advice. November the 10th of 2024 is when I thankfully decided I better go to the ER. Just kind of to backtrack, back in September and October of that same year, 2024, I was just slowly getting very tired. I wasn't able to I wasn't even able to eat most days. I was just so tired. I had to take naps in between cooking and cleaning dishes, slept as often as I could. When I would wake up, I was still very tired. I figured I was just getting old. I could barely, I could just barely function as a person. So in the ER, I found out that I was diabetic, with the A1C of 12.1, and I was actually in DKA. The doctor, she said the long word, and I was just so out of it that I didn't say anything to her. And when she left, I Googled the name and was quite surprised. But basically, I was they put me on IV insulin and prepped me for surgery that very next day for the right ankle wound. It was much worse on the inside than I could see on the outside. Ended up being what they called a necrotizing fasciitis. I'm probably not saying that right, but it's from the undiagnosed, uncontrolled diabetes that I had. A few days later, with the infection still showing in blood work, I was scheduled for an MRI to see if the ankle was infected. Basically, they want to see if it was in the bone. Thankfully, there was no infection to the bone on the right ankle. There was found an infection, though, to the fifth toe and what they called it was osteomyelitis of the fifth digit with surrounding cellulitis. And so basically, I know now, I didn't at the time, of course, but that past summer, 2024, I had what I thought was a blister on my right pinky toe. I treated it myself and it healed on the outside, but evidently it did not heal on the inside, due to the uncontrolled diabetes that I did not know I had. I also had that summer of 2024 what I thought was a blister that appeared on the bottom of my right foot. I treated it and it didn't get worse, but it also did not get better. I presumed due to walking. After the MRI, back to now in the hospital, back to the after the MRI, I was then scheduled for another surgery to put a synthetic skin graft on the right ankle with a wound vac and to have the pinky toe removed. Because thankfully the MRI was, they did the MRI just to, of course, look at the ankle to see if the infection had gone to the bone. And thankfully, it also picked up the pinky toe that actually was infected, which explains why I was getting so progressively tired during the summer and into September and October. Was just really tired. So then, after I had the surgery they removed the toe, the pinky toe, it's amazing. As soon as I woke up and was back in my room, I felt so much better. It was like I was able to eat, whereas before I was barely able to get food in me. And of course, if you just heard my cat, she's coming to say hi. I was able to eat, whereas before I wasn't able to get hardly any food in me. 10 days, so basically 10 days in the hospital for intravenous antibiotics and insulin and 2 surgeries. I came home on insulin with a portable wound vac and home health scheduled to change my wound and the wound vac 3 times a week. Third, I had a third surgery on January the 10th of 2025 for another synthetic skin graft, as I was not healed enough to use my own skin. So they had to do it that way. With research and some information from the hospital dietitian, although they encouraged me to eat more carbs at that time, it was still helpful. By that time, I was able to get my A1C down to 7.1 by January 21st, 2025. Home health ended on January 28th, 2025. No longer needed the wound vac. I could then change the ankle bandages myself every other day. Was also given permission to drive, only needed the offloading shoe when walking, as the ulcer on the bottom of the right foot is still not healing very well, which of course I thought was a blister back in the summer. It's not getting worse, thank goodness. So insurance offered me, I got a paper in the mail from insurance offering me a program with a company called Twin Health. Insurance pays for this service. Once I learned that their goal is to get me off of all medications, I had to give them a try. I had told my husband in the hospital, I said, all this medicine was temporary. It was necessary for now, as it definitely saved my life. So I definitely don't regret it. I mean, I definitely needed the insulin, everything, and the surgeries. So then I signed up with Twin Health on February 25th, 2025 with my A1C that was still 7.1. On May the 2nd, 2025, per my surgeon, the right ankle wound is healed. Granted, it will always look different, but I can walk. I didn't lose my foot. Oh, thank goodness. I am thrilled. 6 months later, ankle is healed. Still seeing surgeon for the ulcer care on the bottom of the foot because it's not healing. With the guidance of my coach and provider with Twin Health, by June the 4th, 2025, my A1C was then 6.3. I am now considered to be pre-diabetic. I saw my eye doctor in the summer of 2025. She found hemorrhages in the back of my eyes from the uncontrolled high sugars previously. Doctor said they were small enough to not be concerned and they would heal. So that was good. On September the 10th, 2025, my A1C is now 6.2. Between February and September of 2025, with Twin Health's guidance, I was eventually off all medications, insulin, metformin, and high blood pressure medicine that I was placed on from the PCP. I have since learned with research, it is not their fault. It is just how they are trained. You fix a problem with more drugs, which then causes a cycle of needing more drugs to fix what each drug has caused. I am controlling now with over-the-counter berberine. It's like a herb type thing, but it's so I'm taking berberine, I'm eating, exercise, and I'm trying to get better sleep. Also, I was also referred to a dietitian that summer of 2025. I saw her 2 times. By that time, I was learning how to help myself. I shared with her that I was mainly cutting back on my carbs. She was very upset with me, told me that I couldn't do that. She was genuinely concerned. I could tell. I don't believe she was just being mean. Um, so I was not going to lie to her. So I didn't go back. She is trained that way, and I know it's not her fault, but I didn't feel that I needed to waste our time, either of our time. So I didn't go back. I have also come across doctors on YouTube that make sense to cut back on carbs. So they confirmed what my research had shown me. Some of them do not eat carbs at all. I am not sure if that is for me so far. In the meantime, I still had the ulcer on the bottom of my foot that just wouldn't heal. Thankfully, no infection from x-ray, as the surgeon wanted to have an x-ray just to make sure. The surgeon tried all sorts of remedies, from even put a cast on my right foot, and had to wear that thing for a whole week. And whew, I was so glad when that came off, but it didn't help. The ulcer was still there, just like I was still walking on it. Even the offloading shoe didn't work. So finally, she suggested that I have another surgery. It's like, oh man, another surgery. So I actually researched it just to make sure, and is this something I really should have? But so basically, I had my fourth surgery on September the 28th. September the 26th, 2025. It was called a metatarsal head excision of the third toe on the right foot. This is supposed to help align my toes better from the missing fifth toe. I researched this, like I said, and I did feel the surgeon was correct. So after the surgery, it truly was a success. Literally, when I took the bandage off on the third, I think it was the third or fourth day, I was told that I could remove the bandage and then, replace it. And it was already so healed. It was unreal. So basically the surgery was a success. And then I have, as of October the 7th, 2025, when I went back to see the surgeon, she told me that I am wound free. In other words, I have no wounds on my right foot, no ulcer on the bottom of my foot, the ankle wound, nothing. November the 10th, 2025, and I told the surgeons, I said on November the 10th, 2025 will be a year. So it took almost a year for my foot and ankle to be completely healed. I struggle with a little balance. The prosthetic shoe insert helps a little. I'm just thankful that I still have both my feet. I can't complain. If I have to have, my ankle looks different because, and I asked my surgeon that, I said, is this my new normal? Because it does hurt occasionally. It seems to have gotten worse this past winter with the arthritis. But she said, yeah, she said that this is my new normal, which I'm grateful because I can walk. So anyway, I noticed after the surgery that my sugar levels are staying high, and I'm still eating the same. I'm not eating hardly any carbs, and now my sugars are high. I am doing everything the same as before the surgery with eating and exercising. On December the 3rd, 2025, my A1C is now 6.7, which means I am now considered diabetic. My twin health provider told me, because I asked her about this, she said that sometimes surgery can temporarily stress your cells in different organs. So on November of 2025, my twin health provider suggested that I be put on glipizide, ER 2.5 milligrams, which is the lowest dose, one a day, to help my cells heal from the surgery. On January the 20th, 2026, my twin health provider suggested I stop glipizide as my blood sugar levels are now more stable again. Yahoo! So that was nice. So I put, and then as a side note, I was also in the process before my last surgery, I was referred to an endocrinologist around the same time as the dietitian. I saw her twice and realized that her training does not allow you to get off medications once you're diagnosed. As with the dietitian, I was not going to lie to her, and she would have been upset with me. I mean, she was even upset when I suggested that I take glipizide instead of metformin, because my research led me to believe that would be a little bit better for my health. So again, it's not her fault. It's just how she's trained. Therefore, I have not gone back to her. They are good doctors to have, just not for me so far. I consider Twin Health my endocrinologist currently. They are helping to guide me on healing my metabolism. They have me on a Dexcom G7, which is that monitors my blood sugar. I have an app to communicate with me and them, and it tracks my foods, my blood pressure, my weight. They gave me scales, and it's all connected to the app. Blood work every 3 months. Exercise programs on the app that I pick which ones I want to do, and I can skip any day if I don't want, if I'm not able to do them, or if I don't have time. As a matter of fact, when I still had the wound vac on, I did my exercise sitting, so I still was moving, just not, a lot. So a year later, with diet and exercise, I am healthier. I feel I am healthier than I've been in years. And that's, of course, in my opinion, I'm probably the healthiest I've been since my 20s. I was probably pretty healthy in my 20s, had my boys, and, well, probably in my 30s and 40s, things just, well, I didn't know. I was eating, pasta because I enjoyed it. I wasn't necessarily overeating, but I was definitely eating a lot of carbs, not realizing that maybe I shouldn't have been eating as much. At first, when seeing my PCP, I'm now kind of talking about him, when he was happy with my progress, but he did not ask how. Just told me to keep doing what I'm doing and come back in 3 months. The last visit, as he is understanding that Twin Health is watching me very closely, they also fax him my lab work, and I bring it to him also. He now wants to see me every 6 months. So that's nice. My conclusion with all my research so far is it's not the medical doctor's fault to a degree. This is how they are trained. See the patient every 3 months, if not better, up the medication, and probably add more as the first medicine caused a new problem, and the cycle continues with each new medicine. Now, I am grateful for medicine as it saved my life. I mean, I'm not saying anything against medicine, but I believe it has its place. I believe, for me anyway, medicine is temporary, and thankfully. So the PCP, and then the PCP, in my opinion, what they do is, especially if you have, say, diabetes, they will refer you to a dietitian and the endocrinologist to quote unquote help you get better with medicine, etc. In my opinion, in my experience, and my research. So then, if possible, with diet and exercise, hopefully in time, you can remove the medicine completely, which is what I'm working on. I am off my medicines right now. I'm not on anything. And my blood pressure and my blood sugars are pretty stable. Now, my blood sugars, I've noticed, are not as low as I'd like for them to be, but I believe that's just probably my body getting used to not taking the medicine. I haven't talked with my Twin Health provider to find out, so it'll be interesting to see what my lab work will be, which will probably be coming up pretty soon. But yeah, looking back, I can see that I was probably pre-diabetic, probably around 2022 or so, as I was just so tired. That's when I was really starting to get tired. Not as bad as 2023. Pardon me, 2024. 2024 was, the summer of 2024 was, it was bad. So, but yeah, I've always struggled with my weight. I actually had lost about 20 pounds in 2023. My feet, I've always struggled with pain in my feet and wrists. Just figured I was getting older and out of shape and arthritis. After literally almost dying in November 2024, I see things very differently now. So grateful for another chance. Now I want to share, and hopefully, if I can help one person not go through what I did before realizing they are not just getting old, if they find they are experiencing what I did and can get help now, that's great. If you even just go to your doctor and get your A1C checked, that's a start. Just, I hope my story was helpful. If nothing else, I hope it'll show you that you've got to listen to your body. Don't ignore anything. Any changes, big or small, get help. Go and make sure you're okay. And if you are, that's awesome. But if you're not, then you definitely don't want to wait until it's too late. And also, again, in this channel, I'll be sharing things like, I'll show you how I will start my garden this year. I'm not a big gardener. I mean, I'm still learning that. I'm just learning. So I will share everything that I'm learning, good and bad. I'll show you even with this past ice that we had, really bad ice here in Virginia, what it did to one of my greenhouses. It's basically ruined, but thankfully I have another one. So we're gonna remove it and replace it. And I'm already thinking of some places to maybe put it in a different spot. Maybe it'll help. I know it's temporary. Greenhouses, the kind that I have, I know it's not permanent. But, you know, since we have one, I'm going to put it back up. So anyway, I hope this channel will be of help to some, and maybe even hope you'll enjoy some of the stuff that I put on there. And I'll even share some things. My sister, she has a YouTube channel, so she's put some stuff out there that's even helped me. So, all right, I appreciate you watching me. Thank you.